After 60, your body's natural defenses slow down, your blood vessels become more sensitive, your metabolism shifts, and your brain relies on steady, smooth circulation to stay sharp. But here's the shocking truth: some vegetables, when stored, cooked, or combined the wrong way, can quietly raise your risk of stroke overnight. Let's uncover which ones, and more importantly, how to eat smarter to protect your circulation and brain health. As the body moves past 60, a silent transformation takes place inside every artery and capillary. The thin lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium, begins to lose its youthful responsiveness. This microscopic layer, only 1 cell thick, is what keeps your blood flowing smoothly, your pressure balanced, and your organs nourished. It's the guardian of circulation, and when it weakens, the consequences can be far-reaching. Every heartbeat depends on this inner skin staying supple, calm, and intact. Yet with age, lifestyle, and diet, that smooth surface starts to stiffen, and even the healthiest foods can sometimes work against it. The endothelium isn't just a passive barrier. It's an intelligent biological interface that senses what's happening inside your bloodstream and instantly reacts. When you exercise, it releases nitric oxide to widen blood vessels and enhance oxygen delivery. When your body detects injury, it signals clotting factors to protect against bleeding. But when chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, or metabolic changes take over, especially after 60, those intelligent responses can get confused. The endothelium can stay in a constant low-level state of alarm, releasing inflammatory molecules and tightening blood vessels when it should be relaxing them. This is the hidden prelude to stroke, heart disease, and vascular dementia. Aging naturally reduces the body's production of nitric oxide, the molecule that keeps vessels relaxed and elastic. Without enough nitric oxide, blood flow becomes turbulent, pressure rises, and the brain receives less oxygen. Combine that with years of exposure to unstable fats, refined sugars, and environmental stressors, and the endothelium begins to lose its protective coating of antioxidants. Small cracks appear, and cholesterol particles can lodge themselves in the vessel wall. The body sends immune cells to patch the damage, but the repair process itself adds more inflammation. Over time, this creates a cycle of micro-injury that makes blood vessels brittle and vulnerable. Diet plays an enormous role in how quickly this process unfolds. Certain vegetables, when mishandled, can inadvertently intensify endothelial stress. For example, frying or reheating starchy vegetables like potatoes or peppers in reused oil forms reactive compounds called advanced glycation end products. These molecules cling to the endothelium, disrupting nitric oxide signaling and generating free radicals. Overripe tomatoes or poorly stored eggplants can accumulate alkaloids that irritate the vessel lining in sensitive individuals. The older the blood vessels, the less resilient they become to such insults, and what once might have been harmless now stirs inflammation overnight. Salt balance is another overlooked trigger. After 60, kidneys lose some of their ability to excrete sodium efficiently. A meal heavy in salted or pickled vegetables can suddenly raise blood pressure, stretching the vessel walls beyond their comfort zone. Each surge creates tiny stress fractures in the endothelium, and with repetition, the repair system grows less precise. These micro tears don't always cause immediate symptoms, but they silently weaken circulation. That's why people often wake up with morning stiffness, slight headaches, or dizziness. Subtle signs that the endothelial tone has been compromised during the night. There's also the role of oxidative stress from modern cooking habits. Many older adults rely on convenience, reheated leftovers, microwave meals, or air-fried snacks, but each reheating cycle oxidizes plant oils, generating lipid peroxides that travel through the bloodstream and attack the vessel lining. The endothelium, already thin and aging, can't neutralize this onslaught effectively. Over time, this leads to a reduction in capillary density, especially in the brain and heart, where fine vessels are essential for nutrient delivery. The result is slower healing, mental fatigue, and a higher risk of blood clots forming in narrowed areas. Yet the story doesn't end in decline. The endothelium, even in later life, retains an incredible capacity for renewal if you give it the right environment. Studies show that within days of improving diet quality, endothelial cells begin producing more nitric oxide again. Certain foods rich in polyphenols and natural nitrates, such as fresh leafy greens, pomegranates, and citrus, can revive their flexibility. Gentle daily movement, deep breathing, and hydration all contribute to better vessel rhythm. The key is not to overload your system at night when the body shifts into repair mode. A heavy, salty, or reheated vegetable meal before bed can trigger a nocturnal spike in blood pressure precisely when your vessels need calm. The goal after 60 is to treat the endothelium as a living organ in its own right, something that responds to kindness and consistency. Choose cooking methods that protect its integrity, steaming instead of frying, using cold, pressed olive oil instead of refined vegetable oils, and avoiding long storage or reheating of nitrate-rich vegetables like spinach and beets. These small adjustments prevent the conversion of beneficial compounds into harmful ones. Add foods that support antioxidant recycling, such as green tea or blueberries, to buffer the effects of oxidative stress. Most importantly, listen to your body's morning signals. If you feel unusually tired, puffy, or lightheaded upon waking, it may not just be sleep quality. It could be endothelial fatigue. That's your body asking for better balance. More hydration, fresher foods, and gentler cooking. With mindful attention, your vessels can stay resilient well beyond 60. The endothelium doesn't age because of time alone. It ages because of neglect. Treat it like the intelligent tissue it is, the silent partner of your heart and brain, and it will continue to serve you with strength, clarity, and vitality for years to come. Nightshade vegetables are celebrated for their flavor, color, and nutritional content. Tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants, and peppers bring vibrancy and nourishment to the plate. They're packed with vitamins, minerals, minerals, and antioxidants. But as with many things in nutrition, context matters. What benefits a younger, more resilient body can sometimes challenge an aging one. After 60, when the body's circulation slows, metabolism becomes less forgiving, and inflammation control weakens, the same nightshades that once helped maintain vitality can quietly begin to work against vascular health if handled or consumed the wrong way. Nightshades contain a family of naturally occurring chemical compounds called alkaloids. These are part of the plant's defense mechanism against insects and disease. In small amounts, alkaloids like solanine, tomatine, and capsaicin are harmless and may even have mild protective effects. But when vegetables become overripe, stored improperly, or fried in high heat, these compounds can concentrate and become irritating to the human body. The first place they affect is the lining of the blood vessels, the endothelium, which is especially sensitive in older adults. The result can be low-level inflammation, a rise in blood pressure, or increased stickiness in platelets, setting the stage for clot formation. Potatoes are often the biggest culprit. When a potato turns green, it signals that solanine levels are rising. Solanine in excess can disrupt normal nerve signaling and constrict blood vessels. In an older circulatory system, where arteries are already stiffer, this constriction can spike blood pressure overnight. Fried or roasted potatoes cooked at high temperatures form acrylamides, compounds that further irritate the endothelium and promote oxidative stress. Add in reheated oil or salt, heavy seasonings, and you create a perfect storm that taxes the heart and brain while you sleep. Many people over 60 report morning heaviness in the head, slight swelling, or dizziness without realizing it might trace back to a late night plate of fries or chips. Eggplants are another overlooked source of trouble. Their dark skins contain nasonin, a powerful antioxidant that protects brain cells, but they also harbor solanine-like compounds that can irritate sensitive joints and blood vessels. When grilled or fried, the outer surface of eggplant absorbs large amounts of oil. If that oil is reused or overheated, it becomes oxidized, producing free radicals that attach themselves to the very fats that line your arteries. The next morning, blood can become thicker and more resistant to flow, placing subtle strain on the heart. Over time, these repeated micro-reactions may contribute to plaque instability and clot risk. Tomatoes, perhaps the most beloved nightshade, have their own dual nature. Fresh, ripe tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a carotenoid that supports heart and prostate health. But when tomatoes become overripe or are stored for too long, the balance shifts. They develop higher levels of histamine and natural acids that can trigger inflammation in people with vascular sensitivity. For someone over 60, that might translate to a night of restless sleep, a slight morning headache, or a feeling of mental fog, all symptoms of subtle vascular tension. Inflammation from such sources is not explosive but cumulative. It builds silently with time. Peppers, whether sweet or spicy, offer another layer of complexity. The compound capsaicin, found in chili peppers, can stimulate circulation and metabolism in moderation. But for older individuals, too much can cause temporary constriction of blood vessels and irritation in the gut, both of which feed systemic inflammation. Sweet bell peppers, especially when stored for several days in plastic or at warm temperatures, can develop mild fungal byproducts that further challenge the immune and vascular systems. The real danger lies not in the vegetables themselves, but in how they're consumed. Frying nightshades at high heat, eating them late at night, or combining them with processed oils and salts creates a cascade of inflammatory signals. After 60, when the body's antioxidant defenses are weaker, recovery from this oxidative stress slows dramatically. What might cause only mild indigestion in youth can, in later life, trigger overnight vascular stiffness, a precursor to hypertension, and stroke. The combination of alkaloids, oxidized fats, and salt retention works quietly but powerfully, affecting the morning blood pressure surge that's linked to most strokes occurring in the early hours. Fortunately, there are simple ways to enjoy nightshades safely while protecting the circulatory system. Always choose fresh, firm produce and avoid green or wrinkled potatoes. Cook these vegetables gently, baking, steaming, or light sautéing rather than frying. Pair them with foods rich in antioxidants and polyphenols such as garlic, onions, or olive oil, which help neutralize harmful compounds. The Mediterranean style of cooking does exactly this, blending tomatoes with olive oil and herbs to enhance nutrient absorption and counter oxidative damage. Timing matters too. Eating heavy nightshade dishes earlier in the day allows your metabolism to process them efficiently before rest. Balancing the gut microbiome is equally important. Some gut bacteria can amplify or neutralize plant alkaloids. A diet rich in prebiotic fibers from oats, leeks, and apples helps maintain bacterial diversity, preventing these compounds from turning toxic. Hydration also plays a key role. Water dilutes circulating alkaloids and supports kidney function, ensuring waste products are efficiently removed before they can irritate vessel walls. The message isn't to avoid nightshades entirely, but to handle them with awareness. They can still offer valuable nutrients, but the aging body needs a gentler touch. Cooking methods, freshness, oil quality, and portion timing all determine whether a meal nourishes or harms your circulation. At 60 and beyond, your blood vessels deserve respect. They've carried you through a lifetime. Protecting them begins not in a pharmacy, but in your kitchen. Treat every vegetable as a living medicine, one that can heal or harm depending on how you use it. When approached with care, even the nightshade family can return to being allies in your pursuit of long, lasting vitality and protection from stroke. Nitrates are often praised as one of the most heart-friendly compounds found in vegetables. They occur naturally in leafy greens like spinach, arugula, and lettuce, as well as in beets and celery. Inside the human body, these nitrates convert into nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes blood vessels, improves circulation, and lowers blood pressure. It's one of nature's cleverest designs. What you eat directly communicates with your arteries, keeping them supple and open. But this relationship can change with age, storage conditions, and cooking habits. What starts as a circulatory ally can quietly turn into a vascular threat, especially after 60, when the body's chemistry becomes more reactive to small shifts in food quality and timing. In a healthy adult, the nitrate nitric oxide pathway works like a well-tuned system. You eat vegetables rich in nitrates, the bacteria in your mouth help convert them to nitrites, and those nitrates then transform into nitric oxide in your bloodstream. Nitric oxide signals your blood vessels to widen, allowing blood to flow smoothly and reducing the load on your heart. However, as the body ages, two key things begin to change. The oral microbiome becomes less diverse, and the efficiency of nitric oxide production declines. The result is a narrower margin between benefit and harm. A small change in how vegetables are stored or cooked can shift this friendly process toward one that constricts blood flow instead of enhancing it. The danger emerges when nitrates are exposed to heat for too long or stored in cooked form overnight. Under these conditions, nitrates can convert into nitrates, and when combined with certain amino acids, they form compounds known as nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are unstable and potentially toxic. They interfere with normal cellular repair, damage endothelial cells, and can stiffen arteries over time. For a person over 60 whose blood vessels are already more rigid and whose antioxidant defenses are lower, this process can elevate blood pressure overnight and reduce oxygen delivery to the brain. What once lowered stroke risk can now increase it without a single symptom until the damage accumulates. Take the example of spinach, a beloved superfood. Fresh spinach delivers nitrates in their pure, natural form. But once it's cooked and left to sit in the refrigerator, those nitrates start breaking down. Reheating spinach the next day, particularly in a microwave, accelerates the conversion to nitrites. The same is true for beet juice or cooked beets that have been left out or stored too long. While freshly cooked beets can expand blood vessels and boost energy, reheated or processed versions can cause oxidative stress and interfere with nitric oxide signaling. Many older adults unknowingly reheat these vegetables as part of a well-intentioned health routine, not realizing that the very meal meant to support circulation might be subtly harming it. The shift from friend to foe is not only about cooking, it's also about timing and biological readiness. At night, the body's metabolism slows down and blood pressure naturally dips. A heavy dinner of nitrate-rich foods close to bedtime can temporarily dilate vessels, but as the nitrates degrade into nitrates during digestion, they can rebound with a constricting effect just as you fall asleep. This fluctuation can trigger nocturnal hypertension, disturb sleep, and cause the early morning blood pressure surge that's linked to most strokes. What's more, the body's detox systems are slower during the night, so excess nitrites linger longer in the bloodstream, magnifying their effect. Water quality and stomach acidity also play subtle roles. Nitrates from vegetables are generally safe, but when combined with contaminated or chlorinated water, they can amplify nitrosamine formation. After 60, stomach acid tends to decline, which means fewer protective enzymes to neutralize these compounds. This combination increases oxidative stress within the vascular system. Even though the individual ingredients seem harmless, spinach, beets, or celery, their chemistry changes depending on storage, cooking temperature, and the body's internal environment. It's a reminder that food is alive, constantly shifting in its impact based on how we handle it. The good news is that it's easy to keep nitrates on your side. Freshness is the key. Always cook greens or beets fresh and eat them within a few hours. If you must store leftovers, refrigerate them immediately and consume them cold rather than reheating. Gentle steaming or light sautéing preserves nitrates without pushing them toward nitrite formation. Avoid boiling vegetables for long periods, as this not only leaches nutrients into the water, but also speeds up nitrate breakdown. When drinking beet juice, opt for small, fresh servings rather than bottled or pre-pasteurized varieties, which may already contain nitrites. Pairing nitrate-rich foods with antioxidants helps prevent harmful reactions. Vitamin C from citrus fruits or bell peppers, polyphenols from green tea, and compounds from garlic and onions all neutralize nitrosamines before they can cause damage. This is why traditional cuisines that mix leafy greens with lemon or beets with vinegar tend to be protective rather than harmful. Nature designed these combinations wisely. The acids and antioxidants act as buffers that keep nitrates beneficial. Hydration also supports this balance by diluting any reactive compounds and helping the kidneys flush them efficiently. Ultimately, the Nitrate Flip is a lesson in biological awareness. Aging doesn't mean losing the ability to benefit from plant nutrients. It simply requires more precision. The same food that lowers blood pressure in one situation can raise it in another if handled without care. By respecting temperature, freshness, and timing, you turn nitrates back into allies for your blood vessels. A plate of freshly steamed greens at lunch can energize your circulation, while a reheated portion late at night can silently elevate your risk. Understanding this rhythm transforms eating into a form of intelligent self-care, one that keeps your arteries open, your brain oxygenated, and your vitality intact long after 60. Cruciferous vegetables have long been celebrated as the crown jewels of healthy eating. Broccoli, cabbage, kale, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts are praised for their ability to detoxify the body, protect against cancer, and support longevity. They're packed with fiber, vitamins, and plant compounds that help balance hormones and fight inflammation. Yet for people over 60, the body's chemistry becomes more sensitive, and the very vegetables that once fueled wellness can start to interfere with vital systems if consumed in excess or prepared incorrectly. One of the most affected organs in this delicate equation is the thyroid gland, the small butterfly-shaped organ at the base of your neck that controls metabolism, energy, and temperature regulation. When cruciferous vegetables are overused, they can slow the thyroid's function, leading to a cascade of problems that quietly influence circulation, brain health, and even stroke risk. The thyroid governs how efficiently the body converts food into energy. Every heartbeat, breath, and cell repair depends on the hormones it releases. As we age, thyroid activity naturally declines and metabolic rate slows. This is part of the normal aging process, but diet can either cushion or amplify the decline. Cruciferous vegetables contain compounds known as goitrogens, which, in high amounts, can interfere with the thyroid's ability to absorb iodine, a mineral essential for hormone production. Without enough iodine, the thyroid becomes sluggish and hormone levels drop. The body compensates by slowing metabolism, which then affects everything from blood circulation to cholesterol balance. For most people, small servings of cruciferous vegetables are not a problem. In fact, they can still be powerful allies against inflammation and cancer. The issue arises with frequency, portion size, and raw consumption. Smoothies made with raw kale or cabbage juice have become popular in wellness routines, but when consumed daily, especially on an aging metabolism, they can suppress thyroid activity. A slowed thyroid reduces body temperature and circulation efficiency, making blood thicker and more prone to clotting. In older adults, this subtle change can tip the balance toward higher stroke and heart disease risk even when other habits seem healthy. Cooking methods make a significant difference. When cruciferous vegetables are steamed, sautéed, or lightly cooked, most of their goitrogenic compounds, specifically glucosinolates, are neutralized. The heat breaks down the enzymes that convert these compounds into their thyroid-inhibiting forms. However, when eaten raw, juiced, or fermented for too long, the opposite occurs. The compounds become more active and compete with iodine in the thyroid. This competition leads to swelling, fatigue, and mental fog, symptoms often dismissed as part of normal aging but rooted in diet-induced hormone disruption. Thyroid slowdown affects more than just metabolism. It influences how the body handles cholesterol, sugar, and blood pressure. Low thyroid activity slows the clearance of LDL cholesterol, which can accumulate in arteries, leading to vascular stiffness and higher clot risk. It also affects kidney function, which can lead to water retention and fluctuating sodium levels, another subtle contributor to hypertension. The combined effect is a slower, heavier circulatory rhythm where blood moves less efficiently and the vessel walls experience more stress. For someone over 60, this environment quietly increases vulnerability to stroke, especially during the night when circulation naturally slows. There's also a link between the thyroid, gut health, and nutrient absorption. Cruciferous vegetables are rich in sulfur compounds that, when broken down by gut bacteria, can produce beneficial antioxidants. But an aging gut often lacks the diversity needed to process these compounds correctly. Instead of being converted into protective molecules, they can become irritating gases or reactive sulfur byproducts that burden the liver and thyroid. This imbalance further suppresses hormone production and leaves the body feeling sluggish, cold, and fatigued. Maintaining a healthy gut microbiome with probiotic-rich foods like yogurt, kefir, or fermented vegetables in moderation helps ensure that cruciferous nutrients are metabolized safely. Moderation and balance are the guiding principles here. Instead of daily raw kale smoothies or bowls of shredded cabbage, rotate your vegetables. Mix cruciferous options with non-goitrogenic greens such as spinach, arugula, or lettuce. Use gentle cooking methods to preserve nutrients while protecting your thyroid. Pair these vegetables with foods rich in selenium, zinc, and iodine, such as seaweed, Brazil nuts, or eggs, to counteract any inhibitory effects. When your thyroid is supported, your metabolism stays active, your circulation remains strong, and your vascular system stays resilient. It's also important to listen to subtle signs of thyroid imbalance. If you find yourself feeling unusually cold, fatigued, or mentally foggy, or notice swelling around the neck, or changes in weight without explanation, it may be time to reconsider how you're preparing your vegetables. The solution isn't to avoid cruciferous foods altogether, but to treat them as concentrated medicine rather than everyday staples. With the right approach, cruciferous vegetables can continue to play a role in healthy aging without undermining your thyroid. Lightly steaming broccoli instead of juicing it, or enjoying cooked cabbage in soups rather than raw in shakes, transforms their impact from stressful to supportive. The key is respect for biological balance. The aging body doesn't need more nutrients, it needs smarter nutrients. When you give your thyroid what it needs to thrive, every organ downstream benefits. Your metabolism steadies, your blood vessels relax, and your brain receives the oxygen it needs to stay alert. In the end, food is not simply fuel, it's information for your body's most intricate systems. How you prepare it determines whether that information helps you heal or quietly holds you back. Inside the human body lives a vast and intelligent community of microorganisms known as the gut microbiome. It consists of trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microscopic life forms that work together to maintain digestion, immunity, and even emotional balance. In youth, this ecosystem is diverse and resilient, adapting quickly to changes in diet or lifestyle. But after 60, the microbiome tends to lose diversity and stability. This decline doesn't just affect digestion, it has a direct impact on circulation, inflammation, and brain function. The health of your blood vessels, your risk of stroke, and even how your body responds to vegetables all depend on the balance of life inside your gut. Every meal you eat feeds not only you but also your microbiome. Beneficial bacteria thrive on fiber, antioxidants, and natural plant compounds. Harmful bacteria flourish on processed fats, excess sugar, and rancid oils. The balance between the two determines whether your gut environment produces anti-inflammatory compounds that protect your blood vessels or toxic byproducts that inflame them. As people age, digestive enzymes decline, stomach acid weakens, and motility slows. Food takes longer to break down, giving harmful microbes more time to ferment. This imbalance can lead to a leaky gut, where tiny gaps in the intestinal lining allow bacterial toxins to enter the bloodstream. Once those toxins reach the circulation, they irritate the endothelial lining of blood vessels, promoting stiffness and clot formation, silent precursors to stroke. The connection between the gut and brain is another crucial link. The gut communicates with the brain through the vagus nerve, hormones, and immune signals. When the microbiome becomes imbalanced, this communication turns chaotic. Inflammation triggered in the gut can travel to the brain, reducing oxygen delivery and slowing mental clarity. Many people over 60 report brain fog or memory lapses that they attribute to aging, yet the true source often lies in a disturbed microbiome. A healthy gut produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which protect both the intestinal lining and the brain's blood vessels. An unhealthy gut, however, produces endotoxins that cause those same vessels to constrict. The result is poorer circulation to the brain, increased blood pressure, and higher risk for micro-strokes. The way we treat vegetables in our diet plays a major role in shaping this ecosystem. Vegetables provide prebiotic fibers, the preferred food of beneficial bacteria. Garlic, onions, leeks oats, and asparagus all contain compounds that encourage the growth of good microbes, yet modern habits often undermine these benefits. Overcooking vegetables destroys delicate fibers, while reheating or storing them improperly can lead to bacterial contamination. Some older adults who think they are eating healthfully with leftover salads or cooked greens may unknowingly introduce bacterial imbalances that stress the gut. Even too much of a good thing, like excessive raw cruciferous vegetables, can overload digestion and alter microbial composition. Balance and freshness matter more than quantity. Hydration is another overlooked element in microbiome health. Water keeps intestinal contents moving and prevents stagnation, which discourages the growth of harmful bacteria. After 60, the sense of thirst diminishes and dehydration becomes common. When the gut dries out, transit slows, toxins linger, and the microbiome suffers. A sluggish gut means the body must work harder to eliminate waste, forcing the liver and kidneys to pick up the slack. Over time, this internal stress contributes to oxidative damage in blood vessels and organs. Something as simple as drinking more clean water throughout the day helps maintain microbial rhythm and keeps blood viscosity low, an often forgotten factor in stroke prevention. Medication use also shapes the gut's environment. Many older adults rely on antibiotics, acid reducers, and pain relievers that alter bacterial populations. Antibiotics, while necessary at times, can wipe out entire colonies of beneficial bacteria, allowing opportunistic strains to dominate. Without adequate recovery through diet or probiotics, this imbalance becomes chronic. Restoring microbial diversity requires reintroducing friendly bacteria through fermented foods such as yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi, in moderation and ideally homemade or minimally processed. These foods deliver living organisms that help reseed the gut and train the immune system to respond calmly rather than with inflammation. Fiber remains the cornerstone of a healthy microbiome. It acts as a stabilizer, ensuring steady fermentation and continuous production of beneficial metabolites. Unfortunately, the typical modern diet, even among health-conscious individuals, often falls short. The older digestive system, more sensitive and less efficient, benefits from gentle fibers rather than harsh roughage. Cooked oats, lentils, chia seeds, and soft vegetables offer the right texture and nutrients without causing bloating or discomfort. A steady supply of these foods restores microbial diversity, encourages regular bowel movements, and prevents the accumulation of inflammatory waste in the bloodstream. The microbiome's influence extends far beyond digestion. It plays a critical role in regulating blood pressure through metabolites that signal the kidneys and blood vessels. A diverse gut flora produces compounds that keep arteries flexible, while an imbalanced one releases toxins that make them rigid. Scientists now recognize that improving gut health can lower stroke risk as effectively as controlling blood pressure medication in some cases. The principle is simple. When the gut thrives, inflammation falls and circulation improves. Supporting your gut after 60 requires daily care, not extreme interventions. Eat a colorful variety of vegetables, focusing on freshness and simplicity. Include natural fibers and fermented foods, drink plenty of water, and minimize processed oils and reheated meals that introduce oxidative stress. Rest and regular movement also help the microbiome flourish. Every walk, deep breath, or good night's sleep supports microbial renewal. The gut microbiome is not just a digestive system, it's the command center for your body's internal harmony. It manages how nutrients are absorbed, how toxins are neutralized, and how your blood vessels age. Treat it like a living ecosystem that needs nurturing, and it will protect you in return in the later decades of life. The difference between feeling vibrant and feeling frail often begins in the gut. When your microbiome is balanced, your blood flows freely, your mind stays clear, and your resilience against stroke and disease grows naturally. From the inside out, the foods we choose each day have a direct and profound impact on the health of our circulatory system. After the age of 60, the body's natural repair mechanisms slow down, blood vessels become more vulnerable, and small mistakes in diet can accumulate into major risks. Yet, with smart eating strategies, it's possible to protect circulation, nourish the endothelial lining of blood vessels, and lower the chances of stroke and heart disease. Circulatory protection isn't about deprivation. It's about precision. It's about learning how to eat in ways that keep blood flowing smoothly, inflammation low, and vessel walls flexible. One of the first principles of smart eating for circulation is stability, maintaining steady blood sugar and energy throughout the day. Sudden spikes and crashes in glucose levels can injure the endothelium, the delicate inner layer of blood vessels. Over time, these micro-injuries contribute to plaque buildup and stiffness. The best way to prevent that is by pairing carbohydrates with fiber, healthy fats, and protein. A bowl of oatmeal with chia seeds and berries, for instance, releases energy slowly, keeps blood sugar balanced, and delivers antioxidants that directly protect the endothelial lining. Replacing refined carbohydrates like white bread or instant cereals with whole grains, lentils, and root vegetables gives the body the nourishment it needs without overburdening the circulatory system. Antioxidants play another essential role in circulatory defense. Every heartbeat moves blood through miles of arteries and capillaries, and along the way, oxidative stress from metabolism and environmental exposure can damage these pathways. Foods rich in polyphenols, found in colorful vegetables, berries, dark chocolate, olive oil, and green tea, neutralize free radicals before they can harm vessel walls. Polyphenols also enhance nitric oxide production, which relaxes blood vessels and improves flow. After 60, nitric oxide levels naturally decline, leading to stiffness and higher blood pressure. But eating foods like beets, pomegranates, and leafy greens can naturally raise those levels and restore the body's ability to regulate circulation. Another smart eating principle is to respect fats, not fear them. Healthy fats are the building blocks of flexible arteries and balanced cholesterol. Omega-3 fatty acids found in walnuts, flax seeds, and cold water fish such as salmon or sardines reduce inflammation and prevent blood from clotting too easily. In contrast, trans fats and refined seed oils can trigger chronic inflammation and make platelets stick together. For people over 60 who often experience slower metabolism, replacing heavy fried foods and processed snacks with light, omega-rich meals is one of the fastest ways to improve blood flow. Cooking with extra virgin olive oil, adding avocado to salads, or sprinkling ground flax seeds over vegetables are simple daily steps that yield long-term benefits. Salt and hydration are another crucial pair to balance. Excess sodium causes the body to retain water, raising blood pressure and straining arteries. But cutting salt too drastically can lead to mineral imbalances, especially in older adults. The key is choosing natural sources of minerals like potassium from bananas, magnesium from spinach, and calcium from sesame seeds, which counteract sodium's effects. Drinking enough clean water ensures that blood remains fluid rather than viscous. Dehydration thickens the blood, increasing clotting risk. The best guideline is to drink consistently throughout the day rather than in large bursts. especially before meals to aid digestion and circulation. Meal timing also influences vascular health. Large, late-night meals can overload the digestive system, keeping blood flow concentrated in the gut instead of allowing it to nourish the heart and brain during rest. A lighter dinner, rich in vegetables and lean protein, supports smooth digestion and stable nighttime metabolism. Studies show that consistent eating windows, such as finishing dinner by early evening, help regulate insulin and reduce blood pressure. After 60, this approach supports the body's natural rhythm, giving blood vessels time to rest and repair overnight. Smart eating for circulation also means embracing diversity on the plate. Different vegetables, grains, and fruits contain unique bioactive compounds that interact with blood vessels in complementary ways. For example, tomatoes supply lycopene, which reduces arterial inflammation. Citrus fruits provide flavonoids that strengthen capillaries, and leafy greens deliver folate, which lowers homocysteine, a compound linked to vascular damage. By rotating vegetables and colors through the week, the body receives a broad range of protective nutrients rather than an excess of any single one. Protein, often overlooked in vascular health, deserves careful attention as well. Excessive animal protein, especially from processed meats, can increase oxidative stress and raise levels of harmful compounds in the blood. However, plant-based proteins from lentils, beans, tofu, and seeds deliver amino acids without the same inflammatory burden. These foods also come packaged with fiber and minerals that stabilize blood sugar and support healthy vessel elasticity. Combining small amounts of clean animal protein, like wild fish or free-range eggs, with plant-based sources provides balance and sustainability. Smart eating also involves the art of preparation. How food is cooked can either preserve its healing properties or destroy them. Steaming, baking, and lightly sautéing vegetables maintain antioxidants and nutrients, while deep frying and charring create toxic byproducts that injure blood vessels. Using herbs like rosemary, thyme, and turmeric not only enhances flavor but adds anti-inflammatory power to meals. Turmeric, in particular, contains curcumin, which supports endothelial function and reduces plaque buildup. A simple cup of green tea with lemon or a handful of walnuts can act as daily medicine for the circulatory system. Finally, it's important to recognize that circulation depends not just on what we eat, but how we live while eating. Eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, and avoiding stress during meals improves nutrient absorption and lowers the body's inflammatory response. Chronic stress tightens arteries, raises blood pressure, and neutralizes the benefits of even the healthiest diet. Cultivating calm mealtimes, away from screens and distractions, allows the body to activate its parasympathetic rest and digest mode, supporting healthy blood flow and digestion together. Smart eating is not a short-term fix. It's a lifelong partnership with the body's own repair system. Each thoughtful meal becomes an act of vascular nourishment, rebuilding resilience one bite at a time. For those over 60, these small, intentional choices can mean the difference between fragile circulation and a vibrant, well-nourished heart. Through precision, balance, and mindful eating, the blood continues to move freely, carrying life and vitality to every cell every day.